Welcome back to Tartan June. It's a Premier League preview. We've got 8 fixtures to get through. I'm not bothering Mondays. I'm going to save that for a Monday video because I've not done one for a while. So I am going to milk it, baby. And we've got a car bet video coming up later tonight or tomorrow as well. So keep your eyes on that if you fancy a punt. But let's get straight into it. The Premier League fixtures this weekend. Saturday, Burnley take on Arsenal. They're looking alright, aren't they? Who am I talking about? Both of them. They're both looking pretty decent recently. Arsenal with a big win away to Leicester sort of gives them a little bit of a hope of European football of some sort. And Burnley, though, they need to keep up, just picking up those points here and there to keep away from that bottom part of the table, which is looking like we've got a tasty relegation battle coming up. Anyway, so Burnley taking on Arsenal. Going to go down the middle for this one. Going to go for a draw. I'll say Burnley 1. Arsenal 1. Sheffield United then take on Southampton. There's just injuries everywhere. Both of these teams. Southampton's had injuries all season. Sheffield Wednesday racking them up. Jagielka got sent off midweek, so he's suspended. So we don't even know if Chris Wilder's got 3 fit centre back, so he might have to switch formation for this one. Southampton, they'll be praying that they can get a few players back into the team because they're on just a horrendous run of form at the minute. They just can't seem to get a win from anywhere. Minamino's probably going to come back in. They'll be hoping Walker Peters is fit enough to start right back because that's been a horrible position for them. I've watched them a few times recently without Walker Peters. I think he's been outstanding this season, but without them, they just don't know what to do. Benedict played out there recently. He's not good enough. That's a weakness in their team. Getting Kyle Walker-Peters back in, I think, would see, so that would be a bit more competitive. But Sheffield United, they're just clinging on. They're not going to stay up. We all know that. But they're playing with a little bit of heart. They're still fighting away down the bottom, and I think they're going to get another win. Big win during the week against Aston Villa, and I'm going to go for the same scoreline here. Sheffield United 1, Southampton 0. Then the team they beat during the week, Villa, take on Wolves. The two sides, one started really well and somewhat disappointed recently. The other one's just been disappointing from the word go. Villa, obviously, Jack Grealish is extremely unlikely to be back, but he'll be back soon. But they are missing him. Bit confused by Dean Smith's sort of line-up against Sheffield United. You know, no Ross Barkley, no Louise. I think he'll put them back in. I know he was resting them. He wanted to see a bit more energy and stuff, but they just looked flat. So they've got to get those players back into the team. I think they will for this one. Wolves, however, they've started to improve a little bit. Got beat midweek against City, but they had to go. Before that, they picked up a couple of decent wins as well. They're not really going to go anywhere. I think they're going to be the first team that's sort of on the beach towards the end of the season because they're not in the relegation battle. They're not in contention for European football. Mid-table. However, going by last season is somewhat disappointing, but I think it's an alright season for them. Their summer and January transfer window sort of activity hasn't really worked out yet, but it gives them a season of just gelling, getting ready, and I think we'll see a better Wolves next season. But for this one, I'm going to say Villa 1, Wolves 1. Then on Saturday night, we've got two teams who are just dropping off. Both teams need to be careful here. Brighton, down at the bottom, still playing the pretty football, still not getting enough results. They're looking over their shoulders because Fulham's creeping up on them a little bit, and they're lucky that sort of Newcastle's just this great big circus at the minute. They're taking all the attention away, but they need to be careful themselves, Brighton. So do Leicester. They've had a lot of injuries. Maddison, Harvey Barnes, the recent one. Fofana was back during the week though. Watch their game against Burnley. I'll tell you something that surprised me that game. It came up with the possession stats in the second half. Burnley had 65% of the ball or something against Leicester. That's not good. You know you're not having a good performance when that happens. They need to be careful, Leicester, because that top 4 is heating up. City are going to win the league. Man United are above them, but not in the greatest for themselves. Chelsea are looking like a different animal now. My team, West Ham's in there, and they've got a couple of teams like Liverpool aren't doing too good at the minute. Spurs are starting to get a little bit of form together. Leicester need to be careful if they want Champions League football. For this one, I'm going to say, surprisingly, I'm going to say Brighton 0, Leicester 0. I think we'll see a boring game in this one. Neither a point. Sort of enough for both teams, but not really enough at the same time, if that makes sense. Probably not. Anyway, moving on to Sunday's games. West Brom take on Newcastle. I am looking forward to this one. West Brom win. They go 6 points behind the Geordies, and they've got Fulham sandwiched in the middle of the two. Steve Bruce has just lost the plot. I'm not a big fan of him. You've watched this channel since day one. You'll know I really dislike Steve Bruce. I'm enjoying what's happening at Newcastle right now. I feel sorry for the Newcastle fans. I think Newcastle fans are brilliant. I really, really do. I want Newcastle to do well. But Steve Bruce, I don't know. I just don't like him. I don't like him. There's a lot of talk this week that he's had a sort of training ground bust up with Matt Ritchie, Almiron, Wilson, St. Maximum out for 2-3 months. They're in trouble. They are in trouble. And do you know something? I think they're in trouble on Sunday morning as well. West Brom, they're putting in a few nitty-gritty performances. They've got a few results here and there. They're clinging on. Can Allardyce do it? He needs to win. If Newcastle win this, I think not quite curtains for West Brom, but it's going to get very, very difficult. However, if they win at the Hawthorns on Sunday, Sam Allardyce might just drag this West Brom team out the bottom three. He might just do it, and in doing so, he brings Newcastle in there. And I'm going to say West Brom 2, Newcastle 0. I think Allardyce is going to do Steve Bruce over on Sunday. Anyway, Liverpool take on Fulham. What's happening at Anfield? 5 defeats in a row. The first time possibly ever or something. I don't know. When does that? That just doesn't happen, does it? 5 defeats in a row at Anfield. Blimey. They didn't have a shot on target against Chelsea till the 85th minute. Things are not going well for Klopp. But do you know something? Put all your eggs in one basket, the Champions League. You've got to finish in the top. They need to finish in the top 4 for European football next season. But they've also got to go for that Champions League. The title's done. We know that. Scratch that. Get into that top 4 and go after that Champions League trophy, because they can still do it. And if they do win the Champions League trophy, regardless of finishing top 4 or not, winning that trophy will make it a decent enough season for Liverpool. Be successful in some front. Failure in the domestic league, but much success in European football. When I did my sort of happy through the season, I did a predicted table and I put Liverpool 5th, and a few people laughed at me. I'm looking like I could be right all of a sudden, aren't I? I got a lot wrong though, so I just want to talk about that one thing that I got right. I did also say Fulham would get out of it, but we'll get into that. Well, we'll get into that now because that's their opponents. Fulham go there and they've got a little bit of a glimmer of hope. They've got this. It's going to be difficult for them because they're obviously preparing for this game. But their mentality could change as soon as they know the full-time whistle's gone in their game just before them, which is West Brom against Newcastle. Because if that game's a draw's probably okay for them at Anfield. But if West Brom win, or Newcastle win, they probably need to go for it. They probably need to try and get the 3 points, because Anfield, the fear factor's gone. I'm going to say Liverpool 1, Fulham 1 for this game. I think they'll get something. Man City take on Man United in Manchester Derby. That was boring, wasn't it? I did a Manchester Derby video last time, and it was the worst game I've seen. The worst game. Anyway, for this one though, I expect City to just dominate Man United. I can see a big home win here. I'm going to say Man City 3, Man United 0. Now, I do think though, the Man United thing, everything just gets blown out of proportion. They were poor during the week. They were really, really bad. But I think they're doing all right. I think season-wise they're going fine. I expect them to finish in the top 4, possibly be runners-up in the Premier League. That's an okay season. Like, it doesn't sound good. The Man United of old, it's not good enough for them. But this isn't the Man United of old now. This is sort of the new one that they're trying to rebuild. And I think it's a really good foundation going into next season. You've got a world-class player there in Bruno Fernandes. You're starting to see which players are not quite good enough. Luke Shaw's probably been the best left-back in the league this season. There's a lot there to work on next year. But for this game, I'm going to go Man City 3, Man United 0. And then rounding us off is Spurs against Palace. Tell you what, Tottenham are making a bit of a comeback, aren't they? If they win, they've got a game in hand. And if they win, what are they? I wrote it down, I can't read my own writing. But they'll only be like 5 points off 4th or something, with a game in hand as well. And they're taking on Crystal Palace. They are just putting together some pretty decent results now, Spurs. Bale's finally decided to show up, but what an important part of the season it could be if Bale does turn into, or even just like a half a representation of prime Gareth Bale that wins games for them. With Son and Kane's back fit now, they are starting to look like they could just sneak into that top 4 Tottenham. A big game here against Crystal Palace. They need to keep up these wins. I think they're going to get one here against a Palace side. Steve Bruce is the same category as Roy Hodgson. I just find it boring. I had them on the other night. I just find the football. I find it hard to watch Crystal Palace. I struggle to watch it, and I feel sorry for Palace fans. Any Palace fan that wants Hodgson out, I completely understand. Even if the mainstream media and the pundits will say, well, he's kept you in the Premier League another year, so on and so forth. Now, from a business standpoint, he's done a really good job. He's doing well to keep Palace in there, keep the finances running through the club. But as a football fan, I'll never criticise anyone for wanting more, unless they're obviously, I think, being sort of a bit OTT. But what they get at the minute, there's no hope of trophies. I think the football's dire. So anyone that any Palace fan that wants Hodgson gone, I completely understand it. I will never criticise them. But anyway, for this one, I'm going to say Tottenham 1, Palace 0. I think that's going to be the boring game of the weekend, actually. I think Mourinho's just going to get the most Jose Mourinho win we've ever seen on Sunday night. Just try and grind his way into the Champions League, and it might work, because the other teams, like, Leicester have got their injury crisis at the minute. Liverpool's just in a crisis, full stop. Mourinho can take advantage of that and do what Tuchel's doing over at Stamford Bridge. He's putting together good, strong 1-0 wins and stuff at Stamford Bridge at the minute to get back into the top 4. I think Jose might do the same at Spurs. I don't think they'll both get the top 4 though. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now. I'll be back tonight, Friday night, with a card bet video, hopefully. If not, it'll be tomorrow morning. I'm waiting to do my research, get my bits and pieces together, not that stuff, get my notes wrote down, and then on Monday I'll have a hybrid preview of the Everton-Chelsea game and the West Ham Leeds game. Please drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you're new to the Tartan Geo channel. If you've got social media and you wouldn't mind sharing this, be much appreciated. I'll be bringing out more generic Premier League videos very, very soon. I might start with the most underrated player at each club. It's simple, innit? It's nice clickbait stuff. I need a bit of clickbait. Anyway, catch you in a bit.